welcome to Everything Teams Phone Live. It gets me every time. That's hilarious. Okay, everybody, welcome to episode 92. 92 of
Igor is flabbergasted.
He's like, what is all that about?
He's like, what just happened?
Wow, what an intro. Wow.
That's amazing. That's funny. It cracks us up every time. Igor, welcome everybody to episode 92. We've got Clerk Chat live with us today. We're excited to talk about some cool things. You've seen some announcements from Momentum, but Igor, CTO of Clerk Chat, welcome to Everything Teams Phone Live. How are you doing?
Doing great. Wow, I'm still recovering from that intro. That was impressive.
It's everybody.
And Seth, welcome from Clerk Chat as well. Seth, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm great. Good to be here. Thank you.
All right, good deal. Well, Brandon Bailey, it's been like, I don't know, is it June, something like that, since our episode 91?
Yep.
Brandon and I had a busy summer, so we took a gap. I think Brandon was on paternity leave or something like that, so
yes.
we couldn't do the show, and so welcome back, everybody. Brandon, how are you doing, buddy? It's been a bit.
Oh, it's been a minute. I feel like I haven't talked to you all summer, which is
right.
Obviously not true.
Every Friday.
Yeah, I actually had to ask Bailey when our last show was because it's been that long, and then I made a comment on our. Yeah, I made a comment on our LinkedIn post about this show that I don't even know if we remember how to podcast. Like,
no.
What is this show even?
But it just comes naturally.
Oh, here we are.
Yeah, it just pops in and we just go into character straight away, right? Boom, here you go, we're back.
But the good thing about it, Rick, was you guys prepared us so well. So yeah,
exactly. The script and all that stuff, right? The structure, everything, right? So it's
I'm literally commuting to the office right now, so I'm ready.
It's going to get you pumped for the day, Igor. It's getting you pumped for the day. Bailey, our producer, welcome back, Bailey. Super excited here. What do we have for, I guess, some organization stuff, Bailey? What do we got?
Yeah, it's been a while. Let's see if I still have it, guys. Episode 92 of Everything Teams Phone Live is sponsored by Momentum, where we help businesses move forward with our best-in-class connectivity, collaboration, and engagement solutions. Now back to you guys. Episode 92 with Clerk Chat. Really excited about this one.
Thanks, Bailey. All right. Well, Momentum.
I have to say, Rick, real quick. We take a summer off. We're trying to dust the cobwebs off. And what do we decide to do? We decide to go full blown live today. There's no margin for error today. If you slip up, we're just going to have to roll with it.
Though, I don't know that we ever have edited anything in our shows anyway. So, we're just going to go with it. It's all good. I wore your favorite vest, Brandon. I wanted to dress to impress. So I put your favorite vest on.
I've gotten so used to that vest. I don't even notice you guys.
I pulled the pocket square out. Pulled the pocket square out.
The first day he showed up on camera in this vest, which he showed up where you could see more of it. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is my grandpa's vest.
Well, no, he just needs to add a couple fishing lures to the lapel.
It's not even.
I don't think you guys are getting this. This is not a working type of vest. This is like you put it over your suit type of thing because it's got my pocket square section right here. Like this is Italian.
Put it over your suit? That's just like your suit coat.
Look, under your suit coat. Hold on a second. There's a couple of things here, not about the vest specifically, but let me just a couple of fashion things here. Okay, guys, look, a vest is never a bad thing. Okay, but here, Seth, this is for you, Seth, right here. Now, this is a fashion tip. All right, I feel compelled to share this with everyone that wears a polo. Now, there's these little plastic things under my polo right here. They're just stickers. You just put them on when you put your polo on, right? But what does that do? Is it keeps my collar nice and just like it's almost like a military looking like straight lines right there. It's kind of.
I'm just gonna stop the fashion show for a second and say
no. I'm taking notes here. This is good.
Igor, I'm gonna say
my game here. This is
logos. You need some logos on these, Igor. Hand these out like logos. Here you go, Clerk Chat.
Nope. Igor, I'm going to say something to you. it's Rick and I have this conversation from time to time. I'll show up to meetings. He's like, dude, could you at least dress a little nicer? And the comment is, you don't need to dress up when you're the smartest person in the room.
Oh, wow. And we're talking about me being grounded here, huh? Let's see.
You know, like so us technical guys, we show up with hoods on.
That's my excuse right there. It's just like
Right.
a hoodie.
Look, the two technical guys, Seth, where does that leave us, Seth? Like, leaves me last because I'm giving fashion advice, I guess, right? So
I can't, Rick. I can't. You know?
That's what my fiance tells me. I'm just her arm candy there. So anyhow, all right, well, let's get this thing started, guys. Thank you for joining us. This is exciting. We usually do this about noon Pacific, so 9 a.m. Pacific is pretty, you know, Brandon probably took a shower this time and all that good stuff, not sure. So that's cool. But we're excited to talk about the partnership that Momentum announced a couple of days ago, right? Tuesday with Clerk Chat. For our messaging, for what we're calling it Momentum Messaging, powered by Clerk Chat. And we're pretty darn excited. And I think it's exciting for a couple of different reasons. Number one, messaging is in business is obviously growing exponentially, right? Messaging is growing, but also because you guys did a couple of cool things, right? You've injected some AI into the messaging platform. You've partnered with Google, I think, on some RCS stuff. So you've got some RCS stuff that's just out of this world. So anybody that's used to texting. Now, I'm a big WhatsApp user because Brandon and I typically will travel internationally a few times a year for a few things. And so we've always used WhatsApp for a while, for a few years. But texting has always been that, oh man, you can't send an app, or you can't send this, or you can't send that. It's just kind of a bit boring, right? But RCS changes that. And I would love, Igor or Seth, if you guys took a sec and just said, you know, what is, and I didn't intend to start with RCS, but I think it's pretty awesome. So I'd love it if you kind of laid out what is RCS.
And maybe start with who is Clerk Chat and then move into RCS.
There you go. Actually, you guys should do that. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Hey, everyone knows who Clerk Chat is, right? No?
I'm wearing the
Seth,
hat just in case, just so you know.
Love it. Seth, you want to kick it off? Who's Clerk Chat?
So it's funny. We a lot of folks know us for our business messaging attributes. So in terms of folks that are looking to really complete that sort of unified communication stack, we have helped enterprises with the ability for them to interact in a way that their clients actually want to interact with the business. So yes, voice, video, all those modalities make sense. And sort of the messaging component part is really where we're seeing hyper growth. And so we help fulfill that, and we help folks like Momentum bring those wonderful capabilities into their enterprise customer base.
Yeah, we like to say that we make every business conversational. So any customer, whether it, patient, customer, or fan, can engage with the business and have a one-on-one conversation. Similar to as if you're talking to a friend or family member, you can engage with the business and have a one-on-one conversation and actually get the answers that you're looking for.
It's a super important thing, I think, to continue to sort of elevate the business in today's environment. There's a lot of competitive things out there, right? And building a relationship with your customers is probably the single most important thing you can do in your organization. And I'll give you just a quick example. I was so excited for our partnership, and I think a couple of days ago I was headed to go get a haircut. And it was like 6 o'clock, and I was texting Brandon. I'm like, check it out. And I called my haircut place. I said, hey, I'm running about 5 minutes behind. So Weldon Barber in Sammamish. And if Mahendra from Microsoft is listening, we see the same person to get our haircut. It's kind of funny. We figured that out in the waiting room one day. So I'm headed over there. I'm like, I'm running late, and I called him actually. I said I'm running late. And instantly I get a text message back. Hey, what were you looking for? I was like, I'm running late. Oh, no problem. We'll just pass that on to the receptionist. Just a quick text conversation, right? Now I pulled over and I said that while because I was not driving while I was texting, but yeah, so it was pretty cool to get instant response. And I was concerned that maybe I'm a bit too late and they're going to not let me in the door. Right. And so they're like, yeah, no problem. We'll just pass that on to the receptionist. What I thought was pretty cool is they didn't really have a receptionist. Right. It was just the haircut people like that were there checking people in and out. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. So anyway, I thought that was great.
They didn't have an AI receptionist.
It was an AI receptionist. That's what was responding to me, right? So it was an AI response. It was an instant response saying, "No problem, we'll pass that along to the receptionist." But I thought that was awesome. But no, there was no check-in screen for me from an AI perspective. But they did have AI behind their text message, and I thought that was awesome. I'm like, this is how you build a relationship with your customers. This is how you make your customers feel okay, right? When something's maybe not okay, right? I'm like, oh, I'm running late. So it just goes to show messaging for every business is going to be more and more important. And I think RCS, as an example, is taking us into that next level of customer experience for every business.
100%. So we're extremely bullish on RCS for business. We actually think that RCS is going to become the home for AI, essentially, because it's feature rich. You have buttons, you have carousels, it's encrypted and it's trusted, right? So when you get a message from business, you actually know it's coming from that specific business. You're not getting spoofed, you're not getting spammed, it's coming from that business. You can engage with it, you can ask questions, right? So we think that RCS is going to become that medium for AI, where it's perfect to enable the AI features on top of it, so you can make it actually conversational. So we're doing a lot behind the scenes to actually enable these conversational experiences for businesses, where a customer can come in and actually start building out these AI agents that live on top of their telephony. And if a business is already using like Microsoft Teams, for example, we embed directly into Teams. So you can enable your existing phone number. We handle all the 10DLC stuff. The whole 10DLC compliance thing is a bit of a nightmare, as you guys know. So we built a lot of things actually to streamline the process, where we have AI behind the scenes that automatically builds out the information for customers and submits to the campaign registry and registers the entire process. So it makes it very easy for customers to come in, on board, get up and running, and start engaging with their customers and making those conversations personal with every single customer that wants to engage.
Love that. Brandon or Seth, what's like your engagement story? Because I mean, Igor, I'm going to ask you to show us what RCS looks like, because in just a moment, I think it's going to blow people away what their text messages will start to look like. And I think the security and the identity component of that is really critical, because you guys are all used to getting messages from either a short code, and for those that don't know what short codes are, just some sort of random 04442 whatever, it's just some sort of random number, or B, they're used to getting some message from a number that you just don't know what it is, because it's not associated with the business at all. It's just that the business made a decision to buy some service that assigns them some random number, and that's what they're texting from, right? So this is exciting, the branded and the security piece of RCS. I mean, you guys have a favorite sort of like experience? Like, how do you see this sort of playing out in the real world?
Yeah, so Google actually just released a case study with the Los Angeles Rams. So we actually powered that entire experience for the team. You can search for it. So Los Angeles Rams RCS experience. And the idea behind it is actually for the team to be able to engage with the fans and make it personalized, and provide that much more feature-rich experience, where the fan can actually swipe through the games and select the game that they want to attend. So what the Rams have done was they leveraged kind of this schedule launch, which is one of the biggest and most popular days of the year for the NFL, where they release the schedule. So they released it to their fans essentially through RCS. And I can actually share my screen.
Yeah. If you could show us that, because I think, like, I don't know that the audience is going to quite get the gravity of the situation here, where you're going to see something entirely different right in your messaging screen that you're used to just seeing, 140 characters in, or some text message in, right? That's just text. So this is pretty exciting.
Give me one moment and let me know when you see my screen.
It's coming right up
It's
here.
up.
There we go.
So this is the experience. A few things that you'll see right away. So I'm just mirroring my phone here. It's verified. It's branded. You can see the logo. So when you get the message, it's coming in from the brand. It's verified, so you're not getting spam. And it's feature rich. So you can scroll through. You can choose the game essentially, so you can purchase the tickets right away. It connects to the Ticketmaster here, and it's pretty damn cool. So
That's cool.
And what we've seen was actually a huge increase in engagement with the fans that received that experience. Where they basically have a cohort of users that are highly engaged with the brand, and then cohort of users that kind of like became a little bit cold and stopped engaging. So we've seen over like 70% increase in engagement through this experience that we launched with Clerk Chat, which is pretty fascinating.
That's incredible. That's super cool. Brandon, you got anything on that? You got anything to add to that, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, from the terms of like consuming it, I think it's important for the listener to understand that, at least in my mind, one of the things RCS is doing is it's bringing the content into the communication flow. So there's no more swivel chair. Back in the day, SMS, it's here's a URL. You don't know whether you trust that URL. You click on it, it suddenly takes you somewhere else, and you're not containing that communication and collaboration inside of the communication thread itself. So I think it's, obviously it's game changing in that businesses can start thinking about what platforms can we tie to streamline the communication to be truly unified, right? It goes back to, Rick and you and I have talked about the unified communication has been a term for decades, right? And I think now is when we're actually seeing unified communications become a real thing, like truly a real thing. I know that's bold of me to say.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that I would add to that is, at Clerk Chat, there's a design ethos, which is trying to take what is super compelling capabilities and make them accessible. So one of the foundational things that we do, besides building an elegant UI, we also provide templating capabilities to actually build out those RCS messages. So a business without, tremendous amounts of design expertise can go in and actually create those type of experiences that Igor was showing.
I did it. so I did it. So it's got to be easy. That's actually quite cool. Let me give you an example of what I think this is. That Rams experience just takes it to an entirely different level. But what I thought was pretty cool when Seth, you're talking about the templates. I went into, Brandon and I had just come back from Vegas, I think, talking to a pretty large car dealership sort of organization, right? And we came back and we had just sort of engaged with our Clerk Chat sort of experience. And we thought, okay, let me just hop in, literally just mess around. So I took an image of a Porsche. I threw the image of the Porsche in there to sort of resemble a car dealership, right? And then I saw the button thing for the template out there. I'm like, okay, schedule a test drive, apply for a loan, schedule a callback or whatever. It was like, 10 minutes or so. And I had this template and I thought, is this what's going to go out? Like, this template is really cool because it gives you actionable things. Like, what do I want you to do? Or do you want to talk to customer service? Click this button, right? It gives you actions to take. That's not just I don't need 6 text messages to get that across. It's one message and it's beautiful. And it's like, I know that it's coming from the car dealership. Speaking of which, I have a question about this. This is really cool. The what you just showed us, Igor, how it's when you say branded, it's got the brand on there and it's got like, almost is it like does it create like a contact on your phone? What is that? What is that piece of it? Like what's that piece of RCS?
Yeah, so the business needs to be verified before it gets launched across the carriers. So things like the brand name, the logo has to be registered. And once it's registered, you actually don't need to have a contact on your phone. The logo gets distributed when the message gets sent out. So when you actually receive the message, it will be fully branded.
Man,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I mean, that's so cool because you know
Yeah.
who it's coming from. When I first started engaging with you guys, and you sent me a text message, and I thought, and I'm like, why is the Clerk Chat thing like sitting here? It's like, did it build a contact on my phone? That's awesome. Like I know who it's coming from all the time. So that's really, really cool because it does keep the brands that are close to customers. It keeps them closely tied to you, right? Like I think that's
definitely. Let me share my screen and I'll show you some more product candy.
all right. I
on,
love product candy. You're talking to a product guy.
I love product stuff. I can talk about this all day. So a couple of things, and let me know when you see my screen.
We see it.
Perfect. So this is the Clerk Chat interface, and this is our RCS template builder. So what you can do, actually, you can start building out essentially rich experiences here, where you can start building out your cards. And what you can do here, actually, you can trigger either opening a browser, like mini view. You can dial a phone number. You can open up your maps natively, or you can send a calendar event as well, which is native to your calendar. And the power that Clerk Chat provides is actually what you can do with the AI agents. So you can trigger specific AI agents that live behind the scenes and are tied to the phone number. So you can think about it, a clerk agent that's able to be contextual. So it knows who you are because you connected your Salesforce environment, and it can actually write back into your Salesforce as well. So you can start putting these AI agents that live on top of your telephony that can start executing specific actions. Like, for example, you were mentioning about like the barbershop, for example, right? So you can have a frontline agent that's able to book demos for you and schedule appointments, right? So if you call in, it will schedule an appointment and actually write back into your like HubSpot environment, for example. So
That's
which is
sorry, go ahead.
extremely cool.
That is, it's like a text receptionist, right? Like that's just at its very basic a text receptionist, but tied to every bit of your infrastructure, your CRM. You said the scheduling tool, your other CRM or whatever it may be, Salesforce. That's all pretty cool. What I love about this, Brandon, is that man, this is tied right into Teams. What can that do for us as it's tied right into Teams, Brandon? Like what sort of do you envision here? Because this is exciting that Momentum is taking this and we're building it into our sort of into our core here and our offering. And this is cool to be able to, like, I love the carousels, by the way. Carousels are like my favorite. They're so cool. So Brandon, what do you think, Brandon?
Yeah. I mean, it opens a whole world of possibility, and I'll share two examples of how just this new partnership with Clerk Chat has changed the way I approach customer conversations when I'm involved in the customer conversation. As an example,
are you going to show us anything, Brandon? Because like
I will.
Igor,
I will.
He's got a hoodie. You've got a hoodie. So I like the smart guys should be showing some stuff. So
I'll show here in a second. But I'm speaking to. I was on a call this morning and earlier this week. Get on with these customers. We're prospecting them, and one is in the healthcare space, one is in the natural gas oil industry. So two very different silos. And in both situations, the conversation was brushed, the SMS messaging, that conversation was brushed by because from a purchasing perspective, the thought was, we don't really engage our customers with SMS because of what our business is. And I was able to pause the conversation and start talking about, but hey, you guys are very large organizations, like you're a traveling nurse org where, you know, your nurses are working 312s or whatever they're working, and they need to submit, say, a time card as an example. How do you reach your employee if they're not working? Right? They're not necessarily even sanctioned to have email or Teams specifically on their phone as an employee, depending on the security policies. So what can you do with SMS that solves internal business challenges that are taking you tons of time because you're calling, you're chasing down your employees? And with the other company, kind of brought that same scenario up, but also brought up, you know, you have benefits enrollments that have deadlines, have due dates, and your employees might be on vacation during that due date. So why wouldn't you build some kind of internal campaign, you know, assuming your employee opts in for it, to interact with them and engage them on a channel that they're personally familiar with, and not threatened to interact with. And I'm going to tell you right now, the conversation immediately erupted into, OMG, we need this. Like it changes the way I think, seeing what Clerk Chat can do from a business process and an automation and a pipeline perspective, how you can bring platforms into the communication flow, changes the way you talk about SMS. Because most people think about SMS on a personal level because we all use it, and they don't think about what does it mean for the business. So that's just my 2 cents.
It's such a good point, and I think like you're mentioning SMS. In our minds, actually, SMS is just a channel. It's more around how do you build a customer experience, conversational experience that would actually help the business. That's kind of the core. And SMS or RCS or even voice, they're just channels for customers to engage with.
Yep.
That's interesting, Brandon. So you're from an internal perspective, you were saying this is like they could send, just so I can picture this in my mind, right? RCS, let's just say you got an internal RCS campaign that goes out to, let's say, all your nurses, and you can basically have let's just if I go with the simple buttons, okay, I've got buttons here. It's like, what schedule are you committing to this week? Like, here's your schedule. Here's, training that's needed for this, for the next month that you need to be certified in or whatever, right? Click on this button, click on that button, notify your management of whatever it may be, right? Or file or whatever. Like, you could put those sorts of things internally. If you've got a large staff, like traveling nurses as an example, I can imagine it's, hundreds of, hundreds of people out there, maybe even more. So that is really cool. Like, because you could send the email, but boy, you're right about, like, who's going to, we all have email on our cell phone, but if you're typically off, maybe you don't check your email as an example, or it gets lost in the hundreds of emails that you get every single day, and you don't really pay that much attention to it. Or maybe you're used to seeing an email and it just kind of passes you by, like, there's some training that I probably haven't attended because I probably just let that email go by. But if you get it on your cell phone, like, it's like right there for you, right? It's like, here you go. And if you can click on it, you're engaging with it wherever you are. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, we get to see all different kinds of use cases across verticals, Rick, which is pretty fascinating. There's one, Brandon, when you were talking, we have a client that's a materials organization. They have, I think, 300 different office locations and a couple thousand employees. And one of the things that they're using Clerk Chat, one of the agents for, is class scheduling. So they invest quite a lot into employees, and the process with which an employee has to sign up for a class is kind of convoluted, and it requires approvals from managers and all that kind of stuff. They're actually using campaigns to get messaging out for class schedules. The RCS messaging is quite rich. Obviously, they can actually, within the body of that message, they can select classes. It is integrated back into a calendaring system. So all that stuff can be done very straightforwardly.
That's pretty exciting from a business flow perspective. And I know Brandon's going to show something in a minute, but I'm going to take a step back for just a minute, guys. I want to, like, when did Clerk Chat start? And kind of, if you could, kind of just like, what's a bit of from a history perspective, did you guys go into it going, we're going to go build some RCS stuff, or we're going to go build some cool chat stuff, or we're going to go build, like, there's some cool things about it. And I'm just like, how does that How did you guys kind of decide to tackle this? Because I feel like you guys entered the market when it was texting was becoming even tougher than what it is now, right? With the 10DLC stuff. And so how did that all come about? And I see Igor, I'm going to say, I don't know what it is, but WFO 24. I have no idea what that is. So it'd be great if you could, what is it? What is it? What does that mean? And I'd love to get just a little bit of background real quick. Sorry about that. I should probably have done that at the very beginning, but
Yeah, absolutely. So we started about 3 years ago. So I was actually at DocuSign. My co-founder was at Netflix, and we saw a common problem where if you actually go on DocuSign's website, there's like a phone number up top, and when you try to like text that phone number or message that phone number through like WhatsApp, basically the conversations kind of like went nowhere, right? And my co-founder Alex, he saw kind of a similar thing at Netflix where they were using Twilio to engage with subscribers. And what we saw actually, people are actually kind of like writing back, right? So when you're sending a lot of messages, you want to engage back with those customers, and basically the companies were not engaging back, and there were questions coming in. No one was replying to them. So we started actually experimenting with early versions of like GPT like 3 and so on, and like saw the power of the LLMs and how the conversations could then be like personalized. So if you're engaging with thousands of people, you can actually make it on one-on-one personal. So we started building this thing, and yeah, that's essentially how we started and started growing.
that's cool. And then you get like a Seth guy to come in and talk to the carriers because Seth knows the market really well. And Seth has engaged with Momentum for years and years and years from back in is it Broadsoft days, right? Is it the Broadsoft days, Seth?
Yeah, it's sort of the grand tour of carriers in North America, and just getting to know folks. I've always been on the sort of vendor side, helping to introduce very disruptive technologies and helping service providers with new product introduction and go-to-market strategies and those type of things. And it's been a joy working with the Momentum folks on this project for sure.
It's interesting. Igor, did you think of when you guys first started, you go, we're going to go to the telecom carriers and let them sell this? Or were you guys thinking mass market initially?
It kind of came naturally to us. We started seeing demand, and we actually started seeing like service providers and carriers reach out to us to help them with kind of enabling messaging, and that's what we saw. We built a lot of very deep integrations into like Microsoft Teams, into like Cisco, WebEx, and into Zoom. So basically the UCaaS platforms that enterprises are using, we built very deep integrations to make it very easy for customers to come in and just enable their numbers. And service providers, carriers started approaching us.
I love that because that's exactly what, Teams is an example. We're a big Teams shop and WebEx shop, to be honest. But I got to say this whole embedding into Teams is just a great move because no one wants to open a new browser, right? No one wants new credentials for this, new credentials for that. No one wants to do that. And the fact that it's embedded into Teams so deeply is really what's intriguing. And I think Brandon and I get excited because when we're talking about workflows, we're going, okay, all of our customers sit in Teams. How do we go enhance that experience while they're sitting in Teams? And I think Brandon, you've got it up now where you can show just something that you can kind of throw out there, which is pretty dang cool. Brandon, you want to show what you've got there? I saw you flash it up there a second ago.
I did. I was not. I didn't know I was going to automatically go onto the stage. It must be my streaming permissions. You better take them away, Bailey, because I inadvertently share. But this example, Rick, and obviously Seth and Igor. I was chatting with you guys earlier this week about this as an example, but this is just us exploring the capabilities of, bringing the Microsoft world, the communication collaboration workflows that we see our customers doing, and then bolting on it into the clerk side of communication workflows, and as Microsoft likes to call it, better together. I should probably get brownie points for that since I said that.
That was just the last couple calls with Microsoft that we had.
Yeah,
Brandon.
but that's
you're
I
like,
think that's their slogan now, is better together.
I'm gonna start using that. I like that.
wait. There was
for it.
in that call. There was we're going to double click on this one. Let's double click on this one and dive down into this one. So Brandon, why don't you double click on this?
Yeah. So I've already run one of the workflows just to save time. I know we're kind of already over what we thought we were going to do for a podcast, but it's the scenario, Rick, you described, right? So businesses want to move to Teams Phone. They want to figure out how to engage that customer, high touch, right? So you call into your barber, they don't answer. How do I make sure I engage you to make sure I capture your revenue and you don't go call the next barber down the street? So what we do, or what we've done, is I have this Google Voice account. This is as if I'm Rick, right? So I'm trying to call a number. I've called this number. They haven't picked up. And on the Teams side, if I can find my Teams client, just to show the missed call here, you see 7:44 a.m. I have this missed call just to correlate. This is the business side, right? This is the team side of the workflow. And what we can do is we've built, this is starting outside of the Clerk Chat environment, right? We're watching the Microsoft environment using, in this case, we're using a Power Automate flow to watch for missed calls. We're just, tapping into the Graph API. And then we're doing a couple things. And this is just to give you an idea of the scope and depth that you can go to with this. Is once I know that you've called and that call has been missed and I've detected it, I'm first going to go look up my CRM records. And I'm going to see, do I know who this person is? And if I do, I'm going to take a specific workflow. If I don't, then maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger out and I'm going to take a different workflow. And I could spend probably an hour getting into what we're doing with Clerk Chat on this. But the gist of it is, in the sense that I know that I say Rick in my example, it's not Rick. It's I believe a guy named Ethan. Let me find so on that missed call, as soon as I've detected that, I can automatically through Clerk fire off a personalized message to Ethan, right? I'm not actually typing this message out. I'm building the message, and we'll pretend I'm not sharing certain sensitive data here, but the output is I'm manually building the message, or not automatically building the message based on the variables that I'm pulling out of Salesforce. So I'm getting Ethan's name from Salesforce, and then maybe maybe I want to pull in, hey, Ethan, your last appointment was this. Maybe I want to pull in extra data out of that CRM to do that workflow. And then obviously if he responds back, we can use Clerk and the text AI flows and the pipelines within Clerk to start actioning back the other direction into maybe into Salesforce as an example. So one of the other workflows, I'm not done building it yet, is the other side of it where I'm using a webhook trigger off of this missed call. So over here, if I don't know who the contact is, I'm going off to a child flow and I'm doing a webhook trigger to start the engagement via Clerk Chat. And so I'm going to delete this message so we can start fresh. And this is live, so I'm crossing my fingers that this actually works. I've tested it, but I made a change this morning.
If Meta can fail with their glasses, you can fail.
You're from Power Automate.
Yeah, I've had text flows that there it is right there. I've had demos that fail too. But okay, so what I did is I triggered a missed call action where we don't know who the contact is. So it comes in, and what you need to understand about this flow is over in Clerk Chat, I've got the trigger built on a webhook to detect that, and then it's using just a basic LLM. I say basic, it's it's an LLM, but it's understanding the message that was passed in from my workflow, so an external Power Automate workflow. I've passed in data, and now Clerk is taking that from an AI perspective, understanding the content, right? So I'm just prompting it, understand the content and send a message to, where's my Google Voice, to the person. Hey, we've missed your call. Can we get your first and last name to help personalize? So maybe I say I'm Rick Garcia. I fire that off, and there's yet another workflow that's going to pick up in Clerk Chat to parse that data, to do whatever it needs to do with that data. And then, again, you could be pushing this data in and out of Salesforce, but yet here again, I've done nothing. I've created an automated workflow that now comes back and says, hey, thanks for providing your name, Rick. And then again, carrying on that communication workflow and all the while not really engaging with a human up to this point, outside of how we've created the workflows. So Igor, Seth, I don't know if you have comments. There's tons of ways to obviously solution this. This is just one example of, hey, organizations out there listening, there are real ways to capture your customers in a high touch personal fashion with very little human effort, meaning human work hour efforts. If you start to build these processes and these flows to handle your business requirements.
Now that's a really cool in Microsoft Teams, which is important to us, right? This whole right in Teams, and then Clerk. I mean, you've got a Clerk Chat has a canvas, and really, I think what customers need to know is that workflows are now, you're able to now do just about anything from a workflow perspective, right? You're able to take any bit of information and tie it to another application, and I think. This is super cool here. I think is this you're in the Clerk Chat sort of workflow, Brandon. Thank you for showing that. And so you look at this and you go, what does it start out as? How do you even start to think about what a workflow can accomplish? What's the world of possibilities? I know it's huge, but how do you get that across to the audience right now? How would you even start if you started with a blank canvas as an example? How do you think about what is a workflow going to do for me?
I'm starting on the templates. Right? Like Clerk has done a great job of providing examples of, so a lot of what I've built, having gone from zero knowledge of Clerk Chat to, fumbling my way around and building workflows, has started with this idea of a pre-built template that I can go in, deconstruct, understand it, and modify it to my workflow. That's where I'm starting.
Yeah,
if I'm meeting a customer.
This goes back to the accessibility comment, Rick, where we try to take what are very complex things, and by the way, these can get extraordinarily complex, especially when you start to talk about some of the back-end integrations into CRM systems and e-discovery systems, where that becomes then the foundation of information that can be infused into that conversation that the agent is having with a client. So it becomes extremely powerful. But as Brandon is showing, we try to templatize that to give people the ability to drop in, depending on what vertical you're in. Perhaps there's a use case that's particularly interesting to you, or a business problem that you're trying to solve, and you have templates that you can use straight away.
Yeah, and I think another important call out is, even though it's automated and doing things behind the scenes, what's really powerful for the business to know is that communication thread is accessible on that channel, right? So there's I wonder if the system sent this, or I wonder, there's always context around what has happened in the communication flow. And that's important for, if a human needs to get involved, but it's also important if you're an organization that needs compliance around how you store, record, and monitor those messages. There's so many tools within the Clerk app that just give you what you need to accomplish your requirements.
That's one of the things that I really appreciate about this, is that the channel as text, RCS, SMS, MMS, it's one of the things that I thought was very, very exciting, just because if I think about workflows and I think about all the amazing things that AI can do these days, right, for organizations, it's so far ahead of where organizations are at. Like, it's so far ahead of where organizations are at. The capabilities are just mind blowing. So the channel as a channel is I feel like it lives where a customer is actually at right now, right? It takes them to that sort of next level, but it's not a huge leap, okay? Because they understand what text messaging is as a channel. And so now being able to enhance that channel, inject AI, inject automation, inject workflows, inject beautification from an RCS perspective, right? You look at all those things that you can do that really enhances that CX experience in a channel that they're familiar with. So there's I said it in my statement on LinkedIn about the press releases, that it really bridges the gap, I think, to help organizations sort of take a leap into AI, but in a real sort of simple, familiar sort of channel, right? It makes it really easy for them, and it actually provides a significant amount of value. And ultimately, that's what, you look at all the different sort of AI things going on today, and you go, how's the avatar gonna drive sort of a value for my business, right? And for a trucking business as an example, they're gonna go, yeah, I don't need an avatar, thanks, appreciate it, that's cool, but nah, right? But you look at texting, and the trucking organization or logistics organizations probably text all the time, right? Like they're at a gate. Hey, can you open this gate? Hey, I'm here for this. Hey, can you pick up this? Hey, like, can you imagine the amount of texting that goes on in a logistics organization? And you look at and you think about text messaging, and you go, that is going to transform how these guys operate, because now there's automation behind, there's AI, there's intelligence, there's a contextual understanding behind every message now. And then logging and tracking, and there's so much that they can gain from using the same channel that they're used to, but now it's just putting it on steroids.
You just gave me an idea, Rick.
I'm full of those,
Just
Brandon.
saying.
I'm full of those.
You just gave me a great idea on how to authenticate a third-party SMS, like a truck driver who's waiting for a gate to be opened, authenticate their number using Clerk to action the automated unlocking of and opening of that gate.
Boom. See that?
I'm going to do it.
I was actually kind of alluding to that, Brandon, but it's fine. Take credit for it. It's all
good use case.
All right, guys, listen, we've kept you guys long enough. Bailey, are we going to end this thing sometime soon? What's going on now?
Yeah, we sure can. You call it, Rick.
All right. Well, listen, Brandon, that was a cool example in Power Automate, how Momentum brings Clerk Chat into our Teams environment and delivers on workflow automation as it relates to your Teams environment and your business. That's super cool. Seth, I'm so glad that we worked together to kind of pull this together. I want to give a quick shout out to Patrick here at Momentum, because Patrick was the champion within Momentum, Seth, that says, hey, let's figure out this Clerk thing. It looks pretty awesome. And I've given it to our smarter guys, and they say it's pretty awesome, Rick. We should probably do this. So that's I'm glad he did that. So Patrick, thank you very much. And then Igor, I remember early on chatting with you, and you and I just got lost in a technical conversation of, sort of AI, where it's going, what's building what. And we just man, it was awesome to sit there and chat about it. And like you, I could sit there and talk about this stuff all day long. I'm super passionate about it, and it's great to have you on the podcast and come and chat with us and show us some cool things like the LA Rams and Clerk Chat. So this is an awesome sort of episode to really it kind of kick off the Momentum / Clerk partnership. We look forward to delivering this to all of our customers, and it's pretty cool. Brandon, anything to say?
No, just I'll shout out on the Clerk side, right? Seth, obviously known you for a while, so good to see you on a regular basis. I guess I was joking in the green room that this is maybe happening too regularly now. But Igor, great to meet you. I got to meet these two in person just this week here in Denver. Had a wonderful, awesome conversation with them. And then shout out, I'm going to name maybe 3 people just because that's who I know so far at Clerk Chat. They've been extremely helpful. That's Josh, John, and William. Just getting us going, being all hands on deck when we need them to be there, and putting up with my maybe dark humor on calls. So shout out to those guys.
It's always dark. We were great. Alex was awesome too, by the way, because we were at a legal impasse for a little while, and Alex hopped on. It was like, yeah, no, let's figure this out. So that was pretty cool. So Alex, thank you very much. We're excited, guys. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. Hang out for a little while after we close this thing out. But thanks so much for joining everybody. That's a wrap.
Thank you, guys.
For Momentum episode 92, Everything Teams Phone Live. We'll catch you next time. Bailey, take us
Thanks
out.
for joining.